So you're thinking about moving to the cloud. It's a way bigger deal than you might think. We're not just talking about where your data lives. We're talking about a move that can fundamentally change how your entire business operates. Today, we're going to break down the 7 R's of cloud migration. Think of it as your official playbook for making the right call. If you're nodding your head yes, or even just a maybe, then you are in exactly the right place. Because how you make that move, that's everything. It's the difference between just, changing your address versus completely upgrading your life. And this right here is the biggest trap. It's so tempting to just let every team figure it out on their own. But what happens? Total chaos. You'll have one team using one service, another using something completely different. Pretty soon, there are no shared best practices and you're just wasting a ton of effort. You need a unified game plan, and that is exactly where the 7 R's come into play. All right, let's kick things off with the first 4 strategies. These are the active paths, the ones where you're actually, moving your applications. The best way to think about it is like moving to a new house. You've got options, right? You can just haul your boxes over, or you can go for a full-blown gut renovation. Okay, first up is Relocate. This is the most straightforward move you can possibly make. You're basically taking your existing server setup, the whole thing, and moving it completely untouched into the cloud provider's world. It's super fast, it's simple, and it means almost zero changes to how you operate today. Now, the real beauty of this approach is its sheer simplicity. Say you're running VMware in your own data center. Well, you can just relocate it to a service like VMware Cloud on AWS. You don't even have to learn the basics of cloud services like EC2. Seriously, it just works. Next up is Rehost, and this is probably the most common starting point for most companies. Sticking with our moving analogy, this is like taking all your furniture and plopping it down in the new house. The furniture is the same, but the house itself, that underlying infrastructure, is brand new and managed by the cloud provider. So what's the big advantage here? Speed. Let's say your data center lease is about to expire and you gotta move fast. Rehosting is your friend. You just take an app running on a virtual machine and move it over to a cloud instance like Amazon EC2. It's a fantastic way to get to the cloud quickly and let your team start learning the ropes. Okay, let's just quickly clear this up because this one can be a little confusing. With Relocate, you change absolutely nothing. You don't even really touch the cloud's basic building blocks. But with Rehost, you are using those building blocks like EC2. And that means your team has to get their hands dirty and learn how to actually provision and manage that new cloud infrastructure. Now we're getting to the fun stuff, Replatform. This is where you start to get a little clever. You're not just moving your old furniture, you're taking a minute to upgrade something. Maybe you swap out that old fridge for a new, super efficient, smart fridge that works way better in your new smart home. And here's a perfect example of why that's so smart. Instead of just moving your Oracle database onto a cloud server you still have to manage, you move it to a managed database service like Amazon RDS. Bam! Now the cloud provider handles all the patching, the maintenance, the boring stuff. This is way more cost-effective because your team is suddenly freed up to work on things that actually create value for the business. And this is the holy grail, the nirvana state, the full renovation. You're not just moving in, you're tearing the house down to the studs and rebuilding it from the ground up to be this amazing state-of-the-art smart home. You're completely reimagining your application's architecture to squeeze every last drop of value out of the cloud. The classic move here is taking a giant, monolithic application and breaking it down into smaller, independent microservices. This means you can update and scale each little piece separately, which gives you this incredible boost in agility and performance. But, as you can probably guess, it's a huge undertaking. We're talking a lot of time, a lot of effort, and a lot of code changes. Okay, let's shift gears and talk about the next set of R's. These aren't about how to move an application, but whether you should even move it in the first place. Think of this as decluttering your old house before you even think about packing a single box. It's an absolutely essential step. This one's pretty simple. Instead of dragging your old, clunky software with you, you just switch to a ready-made cloud solution that does the same job better. You're basically dropping your old system and shopping for a brand new one. A perfect example of this is finally ditching that ancient on-premise CRM system and moving to a cloud powerhouse like Salesforce. Suddenly, you don't have to worry about managing the software, the servers, or anything. The SaaS provider handles the whole shebang for you. Sometimes the smartest move is to do nothing at all. Maybe you've got some old legacy application that just works, and there's really no business case to move it. Or maybe an app needs a massive refactoring job that you just want to kick down the road. Hey, retaining it right where it is can be a totally valid strategic choice. And finally, maybe the most satisfying R of them all, retire. This is where you go through, find applications that nobody is using anymore, and you just turn them off. It sounds so obvious, but you'd be surprised how much dead weight companies carry around. Getting rid of it is huge. It frees up money, security resources, and your team's precious attention for the stuff that actually matters. So now that we've covered the how, let's zoom all the way out to the why. Because a cloud journey should never be just a technical exercise. It's a massive business decision. And this brings us to the most important difference of all: migration versus true transformation. And this right here is the key takeaway for this whole conversation. A cloud migration just moves your existing tech, and let's be honest, often your existing problems, to a new zip code. A cloud transformation, on the other hand, uses the cloud to fundamentally reinvent how your business operates, innovates, and serves its customers. And get this, it's a pretty startling statistic. A staggering 70 to 80% of cloud projects that were supposed to be about transformation, well, they just ended up as migrations. They miss out on the real game-changing benefits because they treat it like just another IT project instead of the business revolution it should be. Just think about that. All that time and money just to end up with the same old problems in a new, more expensive location. But man, when it's done right, the results are just incredible. Netflix didn't just move its DVD shipping logistics to the cloud. It completely reinvented entertainment for the entire planet. Capital One didn't just move its old banking mainframes. It became an agile tech company that just happens to do finance. That is the power of true cloud transformation. Okay, so with all that in mind, how do you actually choose the right path for each of your applications? Well, it all comes down to one thing: mapping your business goals against the level of effort that's required. This chart lays it out perfectly. On the low end, you've got retire and retain, obviously the easiest things to do. In the middle, you have the lift and shift family: relocate, rehost, and repurchase. And then at the high end, you've got the strategies that deliver the most business value: replatform and refactor, which of course require the most effort. The right choice is going to be different for every single app, and it all depends on your specific goals, your budget, and your timeline. And that really brings us to the final, ultimate question you have to ask yourself. As you plan this journey, don't just think about where your servers are going to live. Ask yourself, what kind of company do we want to become? Because the cloud isn't just a destination, it's a vehicle for transformation. I hope this gave you a clearer roadmap for your journey. Thanks for joining me.